Hello everybody. Today I want to talk about why I support what the macaroni, if you know, macaroni, Emmanuel Macron. I call him macaroni though because he's such an idiot. But I actually agree with him. On one rare occasion. I know he's an asshole. He's a bankster. He did many bad things, and yeah, basically just pure sleaze, man. He's just a sleazy politician. Of all the things he did, like just like the idiotic reform of every Islamic schools are supposed to be under the state or something idiotic like that. It's basically what China is doing. Every religion has to be under the state. Control under the state. You have to register and stuff like that. And educating the Muslim children. He's basically just taking away the parents' rights and making them making educating the Muslim children by the state, and basically saying the state overrules the parents' rights in France. So or the pension reforms recently, he does many bad things. But in this case, I support him, and what he said was that Europe should not be a vassal state of America, and Europe should not be a follower of America. I support this, and I think if this was the case, we wouldn't have the war between Ukraine and Russia right now, between NATO and Russia, and you're using Ukraine as a proxy, because as we have seen, recently, Germany and and Russia were very copacetic. They don't have any very very bad ill intent towards them, and even some of them actually have a little bit of nostalgia for the Eastern Germany and the Russian rule there and communism there. So they had a very good copacetic relationship, with Gazprom and Nord Stream, and I don't think even France had a bad relationship with Russia. I don't think they see them as a rival. They didn't see them as a great ally, but they didn't see them as a rival either. Unlike Britain and USA, who always have seen since the last decades, the Cold War was fought between USA and Russia, and Britain as their sidekick, and they see him as a rival, and that's how we went through over here. So that's what I'm saying. After the end of the Cold War, NATO should have been done with, and USA should have removed most of its troops out of Europe, because what's there to fight for? Why is there why is the military bases in Italy expanding? Why is the military bases in Portugal expanding? What do you need a military base in Azores anymore? Who's going to invade? Algeria? Morocco is going to invade Portugal? These kind of doesn't make sense. And so yeah, after the end of the Cold War, Europeans should have given power to the Europeans and let them decide stuff. And France is supposed to be the power over there. So it would create a multipolar world, which would become a safer world, because it wouldn't be the ambitions of just one empire. Because what we have right now in the world is a unipolar world. America rules all, and everybody else follows America in the West. And those who doesn't, like Russia, they get some problems. Or those who even doesn't, like even in Africa, like Colonel Gaddafi, Bashar al-Assad in Syria, they would also get into problems. So everybody would get into problems if they don't obey America. So we wouldn't have this megalomaniac country as America trying to start World War III and to nuclear Armageddon we have right now, if they gave power to the Europeans to govern their continent, as either France or Britain. Actually, no, I don't think those two have a very big egos as well, and I don't think any of them would take orders from the other. But I would support they share power in Europe. So France taking half of Europe to rule, and Britain taking the other half to rule, whichever one it is. I don't know. Like France, these countries mostly in the West, and Britain, Eastern European countries to rule. So you divide the power, become multipolar, and there'll be less conflict. So unlike what we have right now, America invading over a dozen countries, and NATO, like as European, being part of NATO, following America into Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, and etc. And bringing in millions and millions of refugees into their own country, bringing in terrorist attacks into their own countries. Right now as well, bringing in more refugees from Ukraine, and starving themselves from cheap gas, from a former ally, which was Russia, because America said so, because America's ambitions of power, and so it would be great. So that's the thing, and I support also Macron. Before when USA left Afghanistan, he was saying that there should be a Euroforce in Europe, and there should be one, but nobody listens to France. So that's the thing. Like all falls on deaf ears, because they're not stepping up, man. That's the problem. They can say this and that, but they're not stepping up to USA. And I hate to say this, but the French today have lesser balls than the French of yesterday. Because before, La France. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. They're all empires. It's not like I'm choosing one empire from the other. Because France especially, I don't like it as an empire because of what it does to Africa. But at the end of the day, it's better to have an empire that is separate than two empires instead of one united empire in Europe, because, as we have seen in the years before, when France was not part of NATO, when America invaded Iraq, the Jacques Chirac said, "Go get bent. I'm not going to Iraq with you, man. You're being ridiculous, man." I know he doesn't have nuclear bombs and stuff like that, so they didn't. Or even in the years of lead in Europe, in the Cold War, when NATO had also again France wasn't part of NATO. When NATO had the Nazi paramilitaries taking out, leftist activists and leftist presidents, maybe not presidents, but they were doing some shady shit, man. They were rigging elections, they were doing coup d'etats, they were doing also terrorist attacks. So when they were doing those kind of stuff, France opened its doors to leftist activists, leftist revolutionaries, as long as they renounce all their violence. They can come and stay in France and avoid prosecution in wherever country, what it is. I think in Francisco Franco's Spain, or Italy, or whatever, So that was a good thing. And now actually, when France joined NATO, they reneged on that, and they're sending the Red Brigades, Red Brigades who renounced violence and stayed in France, back to Italy to get charged, for killing a cop, back in the Cold War days. When things were getting hot, and the war is over, and they lost. And I think they should be forgiven, and they were given asylum. For the French government, after so many years, to renege on that is fucking disgusting, and it shows that you cannot trust the French government if they go back on their words like that. It's disgusting. You should keep your word on it. So yeah, but recently, no matter what Macaroni says, he's just trying to act tough because, he wants to get the money from the Chinese. France joined NATO because, I don't know, I guess they were feeling left out by the Germany and NATO alliance, and and America making Germany the head of Europe. They were feeling left out, that nobody was looking to them, and that the EU, they were being left out. So they finally caved in and joined NATO, and then, they were given crumbs by the American empire. They were given Libya, they were giving, a little piece of Syria, they were given a little bit of action in Afghanistan, and a little bit more in, actually Marco Rubio said it actually, they were being, their troops were transported by American aircraft carriers to Africa. So, this is some bullshit. So I suggest for France, get your balls, stand up and take over Europe, power in Europe, and leave Africa alone, man. Get the fuck out of Africa and make your mark in Europe, man. Where your land is, and where your base is, man. Build a Euroforce or whatever you want to call it. Euroforce, and show that to Putin and etc. that you're somebody to be able to negotiate with. That's why Putin doesn't negotiate with Macaroni, because he's full of shit. He has no power. At the end of the day, the Britain and America tell him what to do. He has no power. That's why, Macron, before the beginning of the war, he went to Russia to negotiate, and he was talking about, hey man, Vladimir, man, don't invade, man. We're gonna have Euroforce, buddy. Euroforce, man, don't worry about it. NATO is done, man. It's Euroforce is the future, and you're gonna join. Nobody's gonna believe you, man. Because you're not going to stand up to America. You have even less balls than the previous regimes in France, man. So yeah, get your balls and kick that fucking macaroni out and let somebody run France and get USA out of out of Europe, because all it's doing is just creating more problems for Europeans so that it can be more useful, so it can legitimize its military force there. Because Europe is a crown for its empire too. It's just one of the jewels, actually one of the most highly prized jewels of its empire. And I guess it's time for you to run your own shit. That's it. Thank you. Bye.